Hello everyone, it's me again, Ryan, and we're doing another Ryan on Gaming topic. This one comes from Jay Delonde. I know you've been watching for a long time, Jay Delonde. What's going on? You said, what was PS3's defining year? Hashtag Ryan on Gaming. This has an answer. This has an answer, and it's a very kind of obvious answer, and the answer is 2009. 2009 was the PlayStation 3's defining year. Why is that the definitive answer and not say something like 2010, 2011, or 2012? You might initially attribute it to a specific year where PlayStation 3 had a good quality of good releases or a couple of interesting moves Sony was making business wise. Because that's probably what you might think initially, is because near the end of the PlayStation 3's life cycle, Sony really started to flourish with that system. The system not only started to sell marginally better, but they were releasing a lot of quality exclusives for it. They were funding a lot of great games for it, even if they weren't doing commercially well, or even if they were out there sort of ideas, games from that game company or something. Sony was doing a lot of great things with the PS3 near the end of its life cycle. But you say defining year, in 2009 was PlayStation 3's defining year. What happened in 2009, you ask? Well, kind of the big thing, which is Sony's complete rebranding of the PlayStation 3 and this huge kind of full force attack of turning PlayStation around. 2009 at Sony Gamescom, that's when Sony announced the slimline PlayStation 3. So not only did we get a completely new console, but we got a completely new look with it as well. And that's something we didn't really see on the surface until once that system started to hit store shelves, and we started to see marketing materials for PlayStation 3, and we started seeing the game cases. This is where Sony changed the font. They moved from the Spider-Man, it's called Mata font, they moved that over to their traditional styling, where the regular classic PlayStation letters. The box, of course, got a price cut. It was now affordable. It was actually something that people could actually go out and buy, and there was actually a good reason to, because in 2009 there was a great amount of PlayStation games getting released, and also this is where a lot of great marketing material started for PlayStation. The whole "It Only Does Everything" campaign, Kevin Butler commercials. We all know we loved Kevin Butler, and that got to the point where people loved him so much that he showed up at the E3 stage at one point. So you take all these things into account, and that's really PS3's defining year, because that kind of paved the way and pioneered the system into a much better and much more stable position, where it ultimately gave Sony, I guess, a lot more confidence, maybe, for lack of a better word, a lot more confidence to stay in the games industry and really show people what they have, which is, Sony has a lot of developers, so that's what they did. They were consistently releasing a bunch of great games for the system, from that point forward. They were trying tons of new things, and at that point, Sony was well into developing PlayStation 4, because we all know that when consoles are typically released, it only takes a year to 2 years for the manufacturer to start working on the next console. So they already learned their problems from PlayStation 3 pretty early on. So it's like, at the same time, Sony's doing, they're doing two things. We got to start working on PlayStation 4, and we got to start fixing PlayStation 3, because we still have a lot of years left with this console. And that's one thing they absolutely did in 2009, which is that whole sort of complete rebranding, and forward thinking with the system. You might, prior to 2009, I mean, one of the big things that was totally in the games media was that in 2008, apparently 2008 was supposed to be the year of the PS3. There was tons of great games coming out for the system at the time. And Sony was really kind of pushing the system a little bit back then, but that was kind of a false hope. I mean, it's not like the system was doing super terrible in 2008. It's not like 2008 didn't help, and it didn't see a great plethora of good games, certainly, but 2009 is where they completely did a 180 basically. And then moving forward from 2009, you had tons of great games, whether it was Little Big Planet, God of War 3, Heavy Rain, more niche titles like Puppeteer, Mag, Warhawk was pre 2009. That was that game came out until 2007, but of course that transpired into Warhawk turned into Starhawk, excuse me. There's a lot of quality PlayStation 3 games basically, but that's what it always comes back to, is 2009 for sure was it, because like I said, especially with that lower price point, and there was that commercial where the guys, Kevin Butler's walking through this whole area where it just basically says $299, and the guy's like, oh, can you confirm or deny? And that's it, that finally put Sony in a good place where it's like, hey, we got a new PS3 out, all right, it's affordable, and we got tons of great games for it. It's also worth noting at this point, this is where Sony also kind of turned PSN around. You know, they had the new PlayStation Store at this point, and I say new loosely because now there's a new PlayStation Store on PS3 and PS4. But you remember that old-looking PlayStation Store? I'm probably showing you footage of it right now when I find it, but you know, you had the launch of that store, so that replaced the old crappy PSN store, and Sony was finally delivering like good firmware features. That was just all around like a really kind of pivotal moment for the PlayStation 3, and it's a good thing that Sony did that, because now we're in the position where we're in today, where the PlayStation 3 is regarded as a good system now, because that's the thing. 2006 and 7 and even going into 8, PlayStation 3 was just getting beat to shit. It had, you know, quality games during those years. You know, it was a quality system during those years, but there's no denying it. Like, whether it was the media or just gamers in general, people were rocking Xbox 360, and the PlayStation 3 was just this stepchild. It just was not the preferred platform, and people fucking hated it. So it's really good that Sony turned it around back then. Thank you, Jay Delande, for submitting that topic. Again, thank you so much for watching. I know your name. You've been watching for a very, very long time, and I always say that to all of you little bastards whenever you are writing comments or something like that, or somebody says, "Oh, remember me? Of course I remember you, dude. Come on, man. I know all your guys' names. If you've commented more than like 10 times probably in the last like 6 months, I remember you." Is it a little creepy? A little bit. But you know what? You're the one watching me, so isn't that a little creepy too? I mean, yeah, YouTube's like this big thing where that's kind of like the whole deal is to watch other people, but whatever, man, it's creepy. You're a little creepy person. And quite frankly, I love you for it. So thank you all for watching me and this topic, Ryan on Gaming. If you have a topic, please, by all means, submit it, and I'll see you all in my next video. Take it easy, guys and gals. I always say guys, but there's gals out there. There is gals. 4% of you are gals. Or no, excuse me, 4 point something %. That's what it says in my analytics, but I'm accounting for you too. I didn't forget.